I think what it's been and continues to be for now is being someone that can inspire people, especially to look at the world in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
I mentioned that before, is that what my Instagram is. I think right now that's what I want to continue to share as my little piece of the world. That like my little thing. That's what I want it to. I want it to be a place that people can come and they can be inspired and they can be excited to travel, whether they can or not, or they can live like vicariously through my work. Yeah. They can look at a person in that shot and go, that's me. Yeah. I'm stood in front of this raging waterfall, and they can think about the water coming down and like the birds chirping and be immersed in that moment. Yeah. That for me, that's right now what I want, like my short-term legacy kind of thing to be.
Purpose in the Youth. Purpose in the Youth podcast. Welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast with your favorite bearded man, the one, the only Bobbbaaaay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast with your favorite bearded man, the one, the only Bobbbaaaay. Today in the house, Jacob Riglin at Jacob on IG. What's up, brother?
How you doing? I'm very, very excited to be here.
I'm more than excited. I was like, I woke up this morning, I was like, oh my God, Jacob's coming in today. I can't wait. I see
some of my favorite people that I followed, that I'm inspired by on here. So excited to be part of it too.
There's been this circle of insanely talented creatives, entrepreneurs, all of these guys that I've been getting on for like the last 2 months, all are connected in some way, somehow.
It's amazing.
And I absolutely love just meeting people that are all within the same circle. And even coming across your work, I don't even know how long ago, man, your Instagram is just beautiful.
Thank you.
The colors, the pictures, priceless. There's only one, you know what you're missing though? There's no bearded man content in the IG feed. That's what you're missing.
Just wait for the Uber deal. It's going to be sick.
I need that to happen. Oh, that's
going to be cool. I'm pumped for that.
Oh, that's crazy. We definitely got to talk about that at some point.
For sure.
But thank you for coming in. I know you're a busy schedule type person, so to have you in today, it's going to be a great conversation.
Yeah, I'm excited.
What do you think has been the true motivation to getting you to where you are today right now?
I think there's a few things. I think it starts way back from my grandpa was a photographer. He wasn't professional in any manner, but he loved it. He loved it as a passion. He was always very creative. He passed away before I picked up a camera, but I'd always been showing his slides and showing his movies and that kind of thing that he'd make. And that for me was really cool. I loved art when I was at school. And it was, I think, probably the only thing I was actually quite good at. And like everyone realizes, and some people don't realize this, and it's kind of right or wrong, it doesn't matter. You find at some point what you really enjoy doing. Yeah. And I was fortunate enough to find that early on. And it was because I wasn't that good at anything else. And then I'm quite good at photography. And I was like, I need to focus on this. I need to kind of hone in on my skills there. And I didn't know what it would turn into. I just realized that people said, oh, you're pretty good at this. And it wasn't something I'd heard before in anything else that I've been doing that was more academic. Yeah. And it was a nice, refreshing thing to hear. Yeah. That was back in, so you've got high school, which is college, which is the equivalent of high school here. Wow. So that's 16, picked up a camera when I was doing some art stuff. And I was also doing chemistry, psychology,
I don't like this
psychology
stuff.
And geography, and chemistry I failed, psychology I failed, and
I think it worked out just all right.
And geography I actually did quite well. I mean, hence the travel. Yeah. And photography, smashed it. And it was just I didn't know whether university was the right route or whether to do this, and I had this kind of weird balance between deciding that, and I'm sure we can talk about that more. Yeah. But it was a mixture of my mum's creativity, my grandpa's, my dad was very academic and business driven, and that's a great balance to have. Definitely. And super helpful. And but I just felt like the creative side of things for me was always something that kind of I really enjoyed and was fulfilling.
Yeah. I think the key is that you were able to find it so young, because it's allowed you that. Yeah. How old are you today? 24?
23.
You're younger than me. Us young 20-year-olds out here, we're killing it, man. We're killing life.
I love it.
But the fact that you're able to figure that out so early on, it gave you those, which we'll get into, those earlier years to figure out the craft, to hone in on it, so that by the time you're 23, people are like, how is this guy so talented at such a young age? But in the grand scheme of things, you've been working on this for years and years. That obviously it's just built up over time. Was the hometown that you grew up in Twickenham? Is that
That's pretty close.
Yeah,
Twickenham.
Twickenham.
I love Americans. Twickenham, Richmond, Southwest London.
Goddamn Americans. What's this environment like for you growing up?
I was very fortunate to grow up in a really nice area.
Yeah.
My mum and dad have done well. They've kind of raised a really awesome family. And I've got 2 great sisters, an older and a younger one. And
you're right in the middle, smack dab.
Like smack bang in the middle. My older sister is actually about a year older than me. And my younger sister's 6 years younger than me. And like we were fortunate enough to grow up in a really nice area. Went to great schools, did that. No private schools, nothing like that. Just good schools, good education, and good people to be around.
And this is right outside of London. How far outside of London were you?
This is a 20, 30-minute train outside of London. So so it's kind of like this distance from the center of LA, like DTLA, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what.
So I'm guessing would you go into London often
London,
growing
so
up?
It was weird, and this is something that photography for me did massively. I loved London. I was fortunate enough to travel a fair amount with my family.
Yeah.
Saw a good amount of the world. Came to the US a couple of times. Did a few other beautiful trips that I'm sure not many people get to do at that age. So that was really fortunate to be able to do that and saw some of the world. And then I think coming back, even just realized how incredible London is.
Yeah.
It wasn't really until I was into photography and I was like, okay, I don't just want to shoot Twickenham or Richmond. I want to explore.
Yeah.
And picking up a camera gave me the opportunity to explore my own city, see it from a different perspective, explore it in ways that I'd never do just walking around when I go shopping or go out with friends to London.
You're just on that path of like where I'm going to the restaurant to go
It's
shopping.
Like, okay, like I plan it before I go. Okay, I want this. I don't know if I have to go shopping, not something I crave doing. Most days if I'm going, I'm like, okay, I need to do this, and this and eat here and done. Yeah. Whereas I'm going with the camera, I have a vision. I have an idea of what I want, but I don't know where to do it. I don't know what time of day I need to do it and all those things. And that was the learning curve that got me into London every night shooting. And that's actually, I guess, back up. The only thing I used to shoot was night photography.
That's it.
I didn't shoot a sunset or a sunrise for like a year and a half.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like night photography's got to be the hardest of all time because if I've learned anything from photographers and videographers coming on this podcast, light is key.
Yeah.
That is what you guys thrive
But
off
then the flip side of that was utilizing light through car trails of lights, through things moving, through capturing, through a long exposure where you've got your shutter open for an extended amount of time, more than just like a quick shutter. It's like a second or 5 seconds or 20 seconds. And you capture that movement at night through the movement of lights and through the movements of other things like clouds and that kind of thing. And I did that for about a year and a half and I learned a lot of my skills from doing that stuff and then realized maybe I should shoot sunset. It looks quite nice.
Maybe we should. Yeah, this actually looks beautiful.
Maybe I should just become like a day person and not go out at 3 o'clock in the morning to shoot when like it was better. I mean, like my friends I went out and had fun and partied and stuff, but most of the nights I was out creating.
Wow, you were just so focused on building on that craft.
Still do.
You had made a comment about you were traveling from a young age, and I had read online that you said something within the lines of that you were grateful that your parents let you see the beauty of the world from traveling throughout your childhood. What were some of like those first places that you went to, and what did you love about it?
I mean, a lot of it started off with Europe. So like
that is what I have. It blows my mind every time I meet people from Europe. It's like you guys have this place of just so much opportunity of cultures and
it's colliding. I mean, you've got so many different languages in a space that's the size of the US, and it's full of like I don't know how many countries, like 30 something countries in Europe, and like fortunate to be surrounded by incredible landscapes, different people, different cultures, like you were saying. And so we did a lot of that. We did a lot of like trips to France and to Greece and to Italy, really like beautiful places. And I think for me, and my mum used to say this, I'd just sit and stare out the window. Like my 2 sisters would be like on their phones or like listen to music, falling asleep in the car. Like I'd be there like out the window, like, oh my God, look at that cloud. Oh my God, look at that mountain. Oh my God, can we stop? I'd see a train and I'd be like freak out because I was obsessed with trains. And like all of that stuff, I was just curious to kind of see what these different places offered. Did a first American road trip, the classic San Fran down to LA and to San Diego via Yosemite. And that was like when we were 7, 8 years old.
Wow. So your parents were kind of helping you guys see the world. They wanted you to see it.
So my mum before this was an air hostess for 20, maybe like 15 years with British Airways, then private flying. Oh, wow. So she'd always traveled. And my dad actually retired yesterday from 35 years at ExxonMobil.
ExxonMobil?
Yeah,
wow,
35 years.
Congrats.
Smashed it, Dad. Take a break.
That's incredible. Yeah, relax now. Time to
Take
kick
some
back.
time off. Yeah. So, but obviously with that, you traveled to Houston and wherever for like back and forth, but didn't really do the travel side of things. So what they wanted to spend the money on was traveling. Was to see the world instead of cars or whatever you could buy as like parents, but they wanted to show their kids the world.
Yeah.
Which I feel very, very grateful for.
Yeah. Because you're getting exposed to it at such a young age that it's probably making you more interested to want to see more.
And I think travel is such a key part of growth. I think like if you're able to do it, it's a key part of growth. I think in a creative, I learned more from traveling than I learned in a classroom. Like getting told about other cultures and getting to see other cultures.
Yeah.
Vary. Like when you immerse yourself in some different environment like that, the learning process and curve is just tripled. Like it's amazing.
Yeah. I actually had a fan question that I was going to use later, but I want to fit it in right now because it fits this. He had asked, this is from Thomas, through traveling around the world, what moment or situation changed your vision on life?
I spent a lot of time in Asia. I think I've been surrounded by communities that maybe aren't as well kind of like provisioned as we are, like don't live the same lives, don't have access to the same things that we do. I think that really made me, I think just mostly appreciate how lucky I am to be able to do what I do. At the start, you're kind of I'm so like focused on just creating, go to this place, do this. But like spending a lot of time in Asia, even just in the last year, like meeting some of the most humble and genuine people from Bali and the locals there, people that are so selfless, that will go out of their way to help you in whatever way. And they live with like 3 kids in a room the size of this. That's their house. And it makes you realize how fortunate you are and how incredible people are around the world, which is sometimes so hard to understand when you don't travel, when you don't see that side of things. So yeah, I think that's been huge for me. Just getting that and realizing that, and I want it to reflect in my work the way that I share content. Next year, I'm looking at doing stuff more that is to do towards like sustainable travel and pushing the message that I do have a large audience and I can connect with people on different levels and be able to share empowering messages and just ways that we can be more mindful about how we travel and the environment and that kind of thing. So
that's the thing I love about the world we live in today. Obviously, we could spend a whole podcast talking about social media, the ups and the downs and the positives and the negatives, but it allows people like myself to live through people like you who create this content and maybe places that I'll never get to travel to or places that I've always been interested in learning about. And then you're providing people this feed of what I would say is inspiration, because it picks people up to see the beauty of what's in this world and the places that where they could actually travel.
Yeah, I think like I say like my Instagram is like a celebration of color through like inspiring people to travel and just to see the world. And that doesn't necessarily mean having to go and travel. Like you said, it can inspire someone that may not be in a position to travel, but inspire them to look at where they are in a different perspective, in a different light, and see things in a more positive way. Yeah. Like I don't want people to look at my Instagram and say, I'm jealous of how much he travels. Yeah. I want them to look at it and say, wow, like this stuff's beautiful. I feel more positive about the world I live in. Yeah. And that there is beautiful stuff out there and I can reach for a goal to potentially go to one of these places or see something that I've always wanted to see or do something that I've always wanted to do thanks to being inspired by this.
Yeah. And I mean, the amount of people that I've had on the podcast that do amount of traveling kind of similar to you, people always think they're like, man, I wish I could travel like you, but they don't really realize what you're giving up to travel like that. You're missing out on family things. You're not seeing your family for long periods of time. Also the mental game of just, you're out there on your own. Maybe you're with 1 or 2 other people, but you're in these completely different environments. You might be the only white person there, which is fine, but you are like the center of attention.
And blonde. That's always funny.
So people are like, who is this guy?
Can I take a photo? Like, and they don't even know. They just want the photo.
They just want a photo, right? But I think, yes, would I would love to travel as much as you do? Yes. But would I be able to do that for a long period of time? I think is what people don't think about.
Yeah, I think there is definitely this misconception on Instagram with people that, some people anyway, that like may look at my Instagram and or whoever else is and say, like, they shot this photo on a beach. They probably just spent the day chilling on the beach and shot this photo and it was so chill and easy. Oh, they went to this waterfall. It's probably nice. And they did this. And it's like the reality of that, like I would say 95% of the trips that I do and others do is a 4 a.m. start for sunrise, is through the full day of shooting generally for a client. Like, well, I'll post maybe one photo that I like, but I've shot a bunch for the client. I've shot loads of different things for different people. Get to the end of the day at sunset, shoot that, then maybe shoot some evening stuff. Then at night from like, I don't know, 8 or 9 p.m., edit previous clients' content in the room, and then have 4 hours sleep and then start it again. And it's like that grind and that hustle is something I love doing. Yeah. And it's put me in a position to be able to go see the world and do it like that. But it's definitely not a sit around game. And
you're not just like kicking back, like eating
fortunately
brunch, just like, oh yeah.
It's like I tie it in. I'm like, okay, if I take my top off while I'm doing this, I can tan. I don't have to lie on the beach, but I can still be productive. And if I like
juggle, you got to juggle.
And like if I make sure I like eat meals in the car, like and like we have breakfast on the road, and we don't, when I'm working, if a lot of these clients, they go, oh, like we've got this really nice sunset cocktail drink for you, and I'm like, I appreciate that, but I'm gonna have the cocktail at 10 p.m. While I'm editing. I need to shoot sunset and make sure you guys get the content. And it's like, I love that. I think it's amazing, but I think it's definitely a different mindset. And actually that's what Beautiful Destinations taught me a lot.
We're gonna get into the Beautiful Destinations in a minute. Talk to me about Strodes. You went there for, was it a year? Is that the year? 1 year?
2 years.
2 years. Whew. So talk to me about, like, you're walking into that first year. What in your,
and this is 16 to 18 for people.
16 to 18. Oh wow, so you're young. You're a young buck. What's going through your mind as to what's the game plan? You're walking into college. Are you thinking, I know photography is what I want to do? Are you thinking, I need to get a job after I get out of here? What's going through your mind going into it?
So I don't know what your school system is here. I always forget. But basically, so we have
so you graduate high school at 16.
Yes, and then we have college for 2 years.
And then you have university.
Yeah,
so I forget the college and university is so different.
Yeah.
We graduate high school at 18, then we jump into either college or university. It's the same thing. But then that's from 18 to 20.
So
22.
Sometimes college can be also classed as sixth form, which is like you have school, which is secondary school, and then like attached to the secondary school is sometimes that extra 2 years, or is it a separate college? Anyway, so I finished secondary school, finished at 16. I'd done art. A lot of the time, like, was again good at it. Like, I was fine at all my other subjects. I did kind of average. I had got good grades, and I was happy with that. I loved geography. I was like, I actually kind of wanted this mixture of like potentially being like an architect or being like something to do with geography, like volcanoes and stuff. I always had this fascination with the earth and the world and seeing that. But then I'd loved art, and I knew that was something I wanted to do. And in the last year of that, when I was around 15, 16, I was kind of putting a lot more of photography into my art, because it was something that they were like, oh, you can draw this and do this. And I was always good at copying things, in a sense that, like, if you said draw this logo, like, I'd do it really nicely, or draw this like landscape if someone gave me something to do it off. But if I was there going, create this beautiful masterpiece of your face, I'd be like, nah,
I'm not doing it.
Nah.
Too much detail.
Like, it's just not, that's not what I was good at in art. And it was the photography and the picture, the camera. I was like, wow, this is really cool. I enjoy this. So I kind of infused that into the art I was doing. Then when college came at 16, I was like, okay, I'm going to pick photography, because I've done that more towards the end of the art course instead of just fine art. Pick geography because it was something I was passionate about and enjoyed doing. Chemistry, but
see ya.
I wanted to challenge myself. I didn't know what it would entail. I'd done pretty well at school with chemistry. And the first day we walked into college, they were like, yeah, everything you got taught is kind of wrong. And I was like, shit, I'm not doing this.
Why did I sign myself up for this?
Psychology was a third choice. I didn't know what to do. And I thought it sounded interesting. And I love learning about people and what they do. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to know psychology, because I don't. I failed it. But like, I still love learning about people and how their mind works and how different mindsets and different visions kind of come together and stuff. But yeah, walking in, I didn't know where it would go. I was university. That was it. I wanted to go to university. I wanted to do the path that everyone did. I wanted to have the university life after college and experience that. I didn't know what it would be in. At that point wasn't like, photography is what I want to do for sure. It was,
you had interest in it, but you weren't definite.
Yeah, and that was through the first year. I was just kind of doing stuff and just grinding and enjoying college, meeting new friends and stuff. Second year was when I was getting more into photography. I was like excelling kind of further than a lot of the class was. And like, I think a lot of the class that I was in just did photography, and they kind of
did it for the classwork, and then they got
and then where I was kind of like, I'm pursuing this after school. I'm going out and learning more than what my teachers could tell me, because obviously they're limited to what they're told to teach. I'm like, I don't want to know the history of photography really. I'm a modern day photographer. I don't necessarily need to know that right now. Like, I love the work of Ansel Adams and all of that, but like, for me, I want to be learning the skills that I can actually utilize instead of someone telling me this is how photography started and like blah blah. Like
you have to go out there and learn it for yourself. That's with anything. Exactly. You could sit there in a classroom and learn X, Y, and Z, but you have to go out there and actually get your hands dirty,
especially in a creative subject.
Oh my god,
creative, and that's one of the biggest. I did this year, like carried on. Like I actually started my Instagram right towards the end of the year on my second year, and it was a mixture of obviously everyone had Instagram, had this personal account that I'd throw selfies up and pictures of toast and whatever the fuck, I don't know, like random stuff. And like, I was like, okay, I'm seeing people share really nice photography work. I followed a few people that were sharing it and their account was all this just nice work. And I was like, I'm going to create a new account. I want to share my photography on a platform that looks like it's very visually focused. And like this was just after Instagram allowed you to post something without a filter on it. Because way back at the start of Instagram, like you had to have a filter on it.
That is so long ago.
It's
crazy. It's crazy.
And like I started off, it was JSMR photography. Jacob Samuel Mills Riglin photography. Super long name, super hard to do. We'll get to that in a minute. And like started this and it grew pretty quickly. Like it kind of caught on quite well.
You were an early adopter of like the
early
photography.
adopter of like photography and stuff, and like I'd seen a couple of pages. There was one that was like at 100K, which like back then was like huge, and it was called At London, and they shared a few of my photos because I was London focused as well, and I grew a few hundred followers and a few this and then just over that time I was just learning. Like I realized people are giving me this instantaneous feedback on my work, liking it, commenting, sometimes giving good feedback, sometimes not, whatever it was, but I'm getting inspired to go and create more because people are engaging with it. And I was like, it's really weird how Instagram actually is one of the fundamental reasons why I really started focusing on photography. An app like this, man, it like turned into what we're doing now. So yeah, that was the path. And at that time I still wanted to do university. I mean, no one knew what Instagram was going to become.
No
where
idea.
it would go. I had couple of thousand followers on Instagram and I was sharing beautiful work, and my mum and dad liked it, my friends liked it, and that was kind of as far as it was going. I was like, I'm going to study photography at university. I'm going to do it. And I mean, I can carry on with the full story and explain if you want to.
So I mean, like, what ended up? So then you go through this like gap year phase, right? And how did the parents take it when you tell them, I want to take a gap year, I want to save up, work 2 jobs, and then I eventually want to go travel Australia and Asia for 3 months?
Yeah.
What are they thinking about when you tell them this?
My mum and dad had seen how passionate I was about photography. I loved it.
I probably loved it too because of all the traveling.
Yeah, because of all the travel. Exposing. My mum loved it because my grandpa loved it, and all of that. And I think it basically got to the end of college, those 2 years equivalent to high school, and I'd done fine with my grades, but I didn't have enough to go to the university I wanted. And at that time, that was still the focus. So I said, I'm going to take a year out, and I'm actually going to do a business course to bump my grades up. Like that wasn't something I was like super stoked on, but I thought, okay, I need to get my grades up to go to university. I want to learn a bit about business. So I basically took a year, did an entire, like what you would do in 2 years in 1 year of a course. Like, we have them A levels. That's like what they are.
Okay.
But like you do 4 subjects like I did, because I failed 2 of them. I didn't have enough points, so I did business. Did that for the year. I worked at a bike shop, like push bikes, where I used to BMX and everything.
Oh yeah, we talked about that before.
Yeah. Loved it. It was a huge passion of mine. And then basically worked at a supermarket as well, saving for camp kid, just trying to balance the two. I worked behind a deli counter with my little hat on.
I used to work at a grocery store
like
too. I think we all
horrible photo of me, but thankfully I have none.
You should make that your Instagram photo. Jacob. Welcome to Jacob Photos.
Yeah. But so did that, and then I thought, look, I'm going to. I got to the end of the year, and I was like, damn, I haven't traveled. I've done this entire year of trying to get into university. I've got my place, but I feel like I've, in a sense, kind of wasted the year because I wanted to travel as well, but wasn't able to with the focus on work and getting the grades up. So I deferred my uni place for another year. So for 1 more year, I got my place. I said to them, look, I'll come next year. I'll do it next year. That was when I decided to go and travel. So, and my mum and dad, they understood. They loved the fact I wanted to see the world.
Yeah.
They knew I was doing something I loved. They knew university would come if it wanted to, but they've been incredibly supportive, and they wanted to see me do something I was passionate about.
And did you travel for that 3 months by yourself?
So no, I was with a girlfriend at the time,
okay.
And we traveled together for a bit, and then I went off and did some of my own stuff and kind of just like explored the region. I went for photography. I went with all my gear. I carried a drone and my camera bag around everywhere I went.
Wow.
The focus was to experience more than just what I was shooting in London.
Yeah.
And without a doubt, doing that travel would not have got me in front of Tom and Jeremy at Beautiful Destinations,
because they ended up, that's like, that built you the
travel.
resume.
Their travel. They like those guys. I briefly, and I can talk right now about
let's
it.
go.
Like,
That's beautiful. That's great
yeah.
segue. You're dancing the line. I want to dance, brother.
They so around this time of my second kind of gap year, although the first was focused on learning, this one was like gap year travel. Let's go. Like, let's focus on uni the year after and do it. Around that time, I was introduced to Jeremy, founder of Beautiful Destinations. It was a feature account at the time, just sharing beautiful photos of the world. And
what's the size of the page? Do you remember? Just to give people some.
It was a 3 million.
Oh, so it was doing
well. It was doing well. I'd followed them since maybe 500-600K.
Wow.
Way back when. But at the time I was introduced, they were big. They were sharing a lot of beautiful content. I can't remember. I think I reached out saying, look, like, I've got some photos. Would you be interested in posting them? I think they fit the style and aesthetic of what you guys are doing. And Jeremy posted a few. Like, we kind of built out this little relationship, and they supported me throughout the traveling stage with maybe like a couple of hotel collaborations and stuff.
Wow.
Way back when, like, this was kind of a new thing, hotel collaborations.
Nobody knew what that was.
I can do some like content for you, and you can give me a room stay. Like, and people said yes. Like, he had a friend that was at Hamilton Island in Australia. That I got a few nights free stay.
Incredible.
Thanks to Jeremy. And these little things, and that kind of happened. And I got back from traveling, and it was May, and I was planning to go to university in September.
You're nervous, probably, right?
I'm like, okay, like, this is weird. I've had an incredible experience traveling. I've loved doing this traveling and seeing the world and getting to take photos. It's not sustainable living.
Yeah.
I'm not getting paid to do it, but I loved it.
But I loved it.
How do I balance this? And I basically was literally signing the place that I was going to stay at university in June, and like signing the box, and Jeremy was like, do you want to come for dinner? Like, I'd like to talk to you about something.
He was in London.
He was in London, so they've got a place there. He was like, Tom, my brother's going to be here, and our business partner. I was like, all right, like, I'd go. Like,
we'll fill this out later.
Well, that's I'll leave that there. Mum, hold my pen. I'm going out for dinner. And yeah, I went round, and as I was driving there, I was thinking, okay, like, I don't know what this is going to be about. Maybe they just want to talk about a trip that's coming up or something like that. Maybe I could potentially ask for an internship. Like, I'd always been kind of like thinking about this idea. I didn't want to. I knew deep down I didn't want to do uni.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say anything to them, but I was like, maybe I could ask for an internship for the next couple of months while I'm waiting to go to university, whatever it is. I don't know. Sat down, and they basically said, like, we'd love to offer you a full-time job as our community manager, running Beautiful Destinations Instagram account. And I was like, I said yes on the spot. I did not call
Mom, can I get that pen back?
Yeah. I got a different contract. It's better. And I knew deep down I didn't need to ask them. I basically said yes on the spot to them. They said I didn't know it was even a business at that point. Wow. They were still figuring out, are we a business? Are we not? Are we doing things like, how's it going to work? And and it was Tom, Jeremy, their business partner, Nick, and one other girl that was in New York. And I basically joined on to run beautiful destinations, beautiful hotels, beautiful cuisines, post all the content, and didn't involve traveling. It didn't involve any of that, but
you were still
I knew it was something. They were like, we're going to pay you a salary.
Wow.
That was like more like, it was generous, and it was an incredible opportunity that when I took a step back, I kind of thought, okay, I'm going to go to university for 3 years, and I could take this opportunity and see how far I get in 3 years. What in my mind is going to do me better? And I went, I'm going to take this opportunity. I have to. I can't come out of university with a degree in photography, a piece of paper telling me that I can take photos.
Yeah.
I can go and be involved in
have
every
literally
day
the opportunity that I'm going to be looking for in 3 years now. Right in front of me. Why don't I take it?
And that was the decision. I remember actually driving back straight after that, and I don't know if you guys have seen Spectre, the James Bond film, one of the most recent, a few years ago. I was driving back, and I remember I was on the phone to mum and dad, like, freaking out. I was like, this is amazing. I've got this job. Yeah. And I drive across Westminster Bridge, and they're filming the final scene of the James Bond movie, and Daniel Craig is like stood on the bridge. For some reason, it was just like, I remember that. And like, I remember driving across, and I was like, holy shit, that's Daniel Craig. Like, and there's this like burning helicopter on like plane on the bridge, and like hundreds of people around. And I'm like on the phone, I've got this BD job. There's Daniel Craig. Like, I'm like,
oh my God. There's probably so much adrenaline going through your head.
And that was that. I basically went out to New York 2 weeks later for the first time
to move or to just like visit?
To visit their office. Okay. They had an office there and an office in London at the time, two very small like WeWork style spaces. Went out to sign a contract to meet like the other girl that was working, and Nick and a few other people. And that was that. Wow. And that was how it started.
Wow. And you ended up, so you go from being the community manager to then now being the director of content.
So yeah, that was my most recent position before leaving.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't sure if you were still with them, because I was digging. I was like, I don't know if he's still with them or if he's not, but it's still part of the.
So yeah, and I guess we'll talk about that. Talk about that now.
Yeah, please.
I can straight in.
Yeah, please.
So started off then with the community management, like I was talking about, and it was from June and through until November. That was all I did.
Yeah.
Then
they would send you the content and you would post
I would pick it. No, so I would pick it on
Wow.
Instagram through the hashtag, through different people on Instagram that
Amazing.
we had connections with, put in their content, writing captions, posting it. To be honest, I wasn't very good at it.
It's okay. It's a work in progress.
Excel spreadsheets
I love
calendars.
Yeah.
Not me.
I love the whole like crowdsourced content though, because you're getting people involved. You don't even have
amazing.
to produce it.
Like back in the day, I mean, it's harder now because people just want to get paid for everything.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like,
of course. Oh,
being,
you're gonna send us some
we
money.
have an account of 5 million people that we can share your work and we'll credit you. It's huge.
Yeah.
And even now with Beautiful Destinations, it's still amazing. There are 12 million followers. People want that.
Ridiculous.
But like, so I was doing that, and then it came to November, and we hadn't done any trips or anything. That wasn't what we were focusing on. During those few months, I'd actually been helping Tom, Jeremy's brother, who is also heavily involved in the business, how to shoot photos. He was really passionate about photography, but was very kind of early stages. And I spent a lot of time with him, kind of helping him create and helping him learn, which meant in November, we got an email from the Hong Kong Tourism Board, and Jeremy was like, okay, like, what do you like? We kind of managed Instagram accounts at that point. Like I was doing the posting for BD, but on the business side, they were posting for other accounts. So we had other hotels and other brands that would pay us to like
to just curate
calendars and content and the style and kind of feel of the Instagram account.
Yeah.
Then Hong Kong reached out saying, we want you to actually come and create the campaign for us and shoot it. And Jeremy was like, well, okay, this is different, but yeah, let's go do it. Yeah. I've got Jacob and I've got Tom. Why don't you guys go and create this content? And that trip pivoted the entire focus of the business. They were some of my favorite photos. One of my favorite photos of all time from that trip was hanging out of the helicopter at 3,000 feet with an aeroplane seatbelt on, banking turn, open doors, shooting vertically down on Hong Kong with like thousands of skyscrapers below. And like me not going, that's a really stupid idea, thinking in the moment, this is insane!
Throw me out!
Oh my God, like I'm hanging with
I'm the new James Bond.
I'm hanging out with just a seatbelt. Then I land and I'm like, I was hanging out with just a seatbelt. Oh my God. Like,
don't send that to your mother.
That little like flick. You know how easy it is to take those seatbelts off? That's what I was practically stood on the rail, hanging all my weight on while reaching with the camera as far as I could. But an iconic photo that for us and for Tom and for everything we shot during that pivoted everything. It was like, okay, the real value is actually creating content for brands. We can do the distribution, we can do the kind of like calendars and like curation, but creating content for them from an in-house team, doing it in an efficient and quick manner that is still just as high quality as your traditional agencies.
Yeah.
Huge.
That's a business model, because curating BD is great. Yeah. That's going to be the starting point, but going into brands and helping them build out the content, that's when you turn into that whole business.
And I was fortunate enough, that was 2.5 years of, well, it's technically 2 years. Like there was the 6 months I started without any of that, then 2 years of creating, working with brands, So then we brought on Sam Calder.
Wow,
Incredible friend of mine. We worked together for a year, shooting videos and photos all over the world for loads of different brands. I got kind of pushed into the director of content role, which was incredible at 22 to be kind of running a team of creators and pushing like the ideas for the campaigns and where we go and being on the ground with like super high up like directors of marketing and CMOs and being like, hey, like I'm 22, like listen to me.
And that's is this role then allowing you to travel to all these places? Because
this role is I'm on the ground creating the content, talking to the clients, being the point person for those things. And I was definitely out of my depth. There's no lying about that. I was way out of my depth. But I loved the challenge.
Yeah.
More so I love creating and seeing the world and doing that. But I love the challenge of learning the business. Yeah. Something Tom and Jeremy are insanely talented at is the business, the entrepreneurial kind of spirit that they have. And I was surrounded by that consistently. And it was incredible.
How did you link up with Sam Calder?
So I think Tom actually found him on Instagram at 3,000 followers.
3,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was creating
He
really
just
cool...
passed 1 million too. So like, I'm just thinking about that complete shift.
2.5 years ago.
Wow.
And Tom found him, and we were looking for someone else to come on board. We needed someone. I was overwhelmed. Me and Tom was shooting everything. I was shooting everything. Like, it was non-stop. And we were like, okay, we need someone else on the, like, to come and shoot. Sam was like, okay, we need someone that's talented in video. We've got a photographer, myself. We need someone that can balance the two. Brought Sam on. Me and him pretty much clicked instantly. Like, it was amazing. We bounced off each other so well creatively that we would go to a place and have 20 different ideas of how to do something, but in a way that we could go shoot it all, because we wanted to hustle and grind, and we would be away for 4 weeks at a time, come back for a week, then go away for another 4 weeks, then come back. And that was for close to a year.
Wow.
Of grinding. That was the hustle that I was talking about earlier, of the beautiful destinations helped me develop.
Because it's giving you this moment to travel, actually get your hands dirty, like actually have responsibility to take on these huge clients who are probably giving you guys massive budgets, and you at the age of 21, 22 are in control of that. Like that is,
well, it's like, so
experience.
like Tom and Jeremy would close these deals and they'd say, okay, you guys are going here. This is what we need to create. You guys decide how to create it. And then a hotel is going, okay, here's a 20-year-old and a 21-year-old coming to shoot our like hotel campaign or tourism board campaign.
We need to get them fake IDs made. Get them like 26, 27.
Yeah.
Look like
And it's like, but that got us in a mindset of being mature beyond our ages and coming in with a mindset that made you sound like you're 30 years old, and instead of you're kind of immature 21. And it definitely matured me up. It definitely got me to a point where I can go out and be the person that people are listening to in a room. Yeah. Thanks to Tom and Jeremy and the rest of the team that actually got me in that mindset.
I think a lot of people struggle, and I've even gotten people that have asked questions as to like how do you beat that, right? Like how do you, because it's tough when you're 19, 20, 21.
Terrifying.
You feel that you're confident with the skills that you have. It doesn't even have to be photography. It could be anything. But it's like, how do you sell yourself and still in the back of your mind know, well, I'm still young. But I think it ends up just coming down to the confidence and how well you carry yourself, and almost like selling it without selling it, like showing that like, yeah, I'm going to get this job done. It doesn't matter about my age. I'm going to prove to you guys and gals that I can actually give you what you need. Yeah. But I think that just comes with the time of confidence in doing it.
Exactly. It's knowing the value of yourself as a person. Yeah. It's knowing the quality of your work. If you're talented at something, that stuff comes. The other stuff comes. Like if you are showing the hero product as being your photography or your video or your music talent or whatever it might be, if you just think about the ways that you can sell that and hero stuff, then you're going to be fine. Like it's a tough thing to get your head around. Yeah. But it's amazing when you do.
So what was the reason, and I think obviously I know the answer, but I wanted you to say it. Why leave beautiful destination? This is the place that you've really built up. It worked in both favors. You're creating the content, they're getting what they need. It's like a great relationship that's established. Why take another path?
I think there were several reasons. Sam left about a year before me. Because he wanted to focus on his own creativity and not necessarily have the restrictions or anything else from working or being kind of told what to do. Yeah. It's very tough when you're a creative, as I'm sure you know, to be told what to do. Yeah.
I don't want that.
No one likes bosses. No, everyone wants to be their own boss. And but at that point when Sam left, I was very, very heavily invested in BD. I've been there since the start. I knew I'd helped develop a brand to this point. I was so proud of that. Through my photography, like the look and feel of it all was some part down to the stuff I was creating. And we did another year. It was fantastic. A bit more stressful. I mean, we had some difficult employees. We had some different kind of like challenges, like any startup company does. It's so normal. It's like, but Jeremy being this like very just like switched on and like entrepreneurial guy, that he knew how to kind of navigate it. And we got through that, and I think it just got to the point where I felt like I'd given everything I possibly could to beautiful destinations. I was potentially holding back on where they could kind of go towards. Yeah. Because I wasn't feeling like I was able to go and do my thing as a photographer. And I was terrified to talk to Tom and Jeremy about that.
I bet.
I was so heavily invested. I loved every part of being at beautiful destinations, but something inside me said like, do your own thing.
How long did it take you from the moment like the ideas brewing in your head to finally having the conversation?
About 3 months.
Yeah.
It wasn't hugely long, but it was like we'd done a few trips. I hadn't, with the business growing so fast, like Tom and Jeremy were super busy. Everyone was busy, and I wanted to do it at the right time. I didn't want to talk to me. I wanted to sit down, have a conversation, and understand where everyone's heads were at. Yeah. And we did that, and they were so understanding of it. Like they've turned, they were like older brothers. They still are. I talk to Jeremy every day and Tom every day because they want to see me grow and be supported. Yeah, like that. They look at me like a younger brother, and I love that. I've got 2 sisters. It's great.
What you said is so true, though. It's like you gave it everything that you could, and you were there. Timing is always. Timing is so important in life.
It's like 2 people. Like Jeremy. It's Jeremy's company. He's trying to push it this way. I'm trying to grow at the same time, and at some point that is always going to clash. Yeah, that is always like 2 creatives trying to like do different things. Like they're his incredible dreams. Yeah, and I need to. I learned enough to go and say, okay, I need to go build my own dreams. Yeah, and as cringy as that may sound, it's so true. Yeah. And they've been super supportive. Whether it's just checking in, whether it's like I was going for dinner and catching up, or Jeremy helping me look at what property to invest in. I don't know. Like He's very good like that, and that's something I'm always going to utilize.
That's always going to be an open relationship. It's not something that like burned a bridge. It's
it's good. It's good for people to. I was scared about that. Like that's scary. I was like, I didn't know what kind of position they'd be in and what they'd think, and I shouldn't have been worried about it. Yeah, but
I think there are times in this world where people will take it offensive and personal and be like, well, what do you mean you don't want to be part of this anymore? And then that's when the relationship completely changes. Yeah. But I think it's even better when somebody can recognize like. If they think it's not best for them, then I should probably let that be, because me trying to convince them to stay on board, it just doesn't work out for
in a few months' time instead of like whatever. But so that was a big turning point.
And when was that? When did that shift happen?
December, just gone.
Just we're about to be a full year.
Yeah. I have been freelance for just under a year. Wow. It was also a little bit of like. I have an incredible audience of 500,000 people that are following what I do. When I left.
Was that all just coming from like BD and still you just like...
Yeah, like BD, fortunate, sharing my work still, me getting elevated through that, me sharing my own work and all of that, like combination. But I'd never tapped into this audience properly. Tapped into what people wanted to see, what people wanted to hear from me, potential products that they wanted to see from me, and brand deals that I could do. I was like, if I don't do this now, if I wait a year or 2, I'm going to miss such an incredible opportunity that I have to go and see what it's all about.
And so this is when then the official launch is JR Media. Is that what you ended up?
Jacob Media now. It's weird. The company was JR Media when I had a company set up towards the end of BD. Yeah. Because I was actually working with Movement at the time. And I can talk about that. But then I think Jacob Media sounds nice.
Yeah, I like Jacob. Yeah. And if it's the Instagram handle. Talk about some of the brands that you've worked with. I know in the past, BMW, Nokia, Adidas, Dom Perignon, Movement, all these brands. What is this process like for you from the first point of contact of building that initial relationship to then finally having a deliverable for what they're looking for?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is relationships building. Yeah. That is the most integral part of any business relationship.
100%.
Like building a solid human connection with someone is huge. Yeah. Some of them take years. Yep. My Movement relationship started 4 years ago when I reached out to them asking for a watch because I loved their content, but I thought I could create something different and new. And now it's a monthly retainer that I have with them, creating content for them. Nothing on Instagram, purely because they know the value of my work. Yeah. And that's been for the last 2 years. And that's because we have built a fantastic relationship based off content and like just passion for things and whatever it might be, but that's taken a long time. That's taken, and I look at it a lot of the times, any clients I work with, if it's a one-time deal, it's a failure. Yeah. I need things to be repeat. I need to create something so valuable that people want to come back and work with me time and time again, and create meaningful stuff as well. The clients I work with are literally anything from, to be honest, anything really. Like it can be so varied. I shoot travel and lifestyle. That's my kind of niche, but that can be adapted to pretty much any client in the world. like a wallet company you could put into travel, and like a car company, a tourism board, obviously, like whatever it is, it can be translated into that stuff. And when I work with clients, I think I go in with the mindset of my goal here is to create something that is going to be of lasting value to them, that has my unique look and feel to it, and something that is different to what they've ever had before. That's the mindset and motives that I have to go in when I work with a brand.
You want to make sure that what I think is super key is what you just kind of said. Like, you don't want this to just be a one and done. Like that's a failure because if they're not coming back, clearly they didn't like what they were
and
given.
that happens. That's not to say that it's bad. Like that happens all the time.
Yeah.
But the real valuable relationships, like the movement one, like other ones I have with other companies, is that repeat kind of business, that repeat relationship that builds and grows, and everyone grows together. They get amazing stuff. I get like brand relationships and great pay and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Aside from the movement, because I know that is a very genuine relationship.
Yeah.
Has there been a brand or a campaign that like you just loved, or you were just like taken away that you even got the opportunity to work with them?
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to work with a few brands. I wanted to get into the car space a lot. And BMW was that first company. They replied on Christmas Day.
No, what? And an email?
In December. They replied on my Instagram DM. I reached out and I said, look, like...
You sent the Hail Mary. You sent a DM?
I sent a DM.
Oh, let's go.
It's a very challenging thing to find email addresses and get to the right people.
Yeah.
But even to... Side note, it's something I talk about in my workshop course.
Hey, we're going to get to that.
But I reached out on Instagram. I was like, look, they're a fantastic car company. I want to experience and challenge myself creating beautiful content of cars. I love cars. I'm not going to need to buy one. I fortunately travel.
Yeah,
but
you travel.
I want to drive one. I love cars. So I reached out to them on Instagram. I said, look, like, I'm really interested in your company. I love the stuff you've created. I referenced the campaign they'd done before. Loved this about it. Loved this. Here's what I think I could have done slightly differently. I'd love the opportunity to take out one of your cars, create you some fantastic content, and get to experience kind of what BMW does. And then about a month later, they said, so sorry for the delay, 7 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Day, like, we'd love to talk. I was like, this is so weird. For one, who on earth is at work on Christmas Day?
I don't know.
I don't know, but like agency-wise, like, I mean, pretty much everything is shut for those 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you. Like, that's incredible that you replied. And in the new year, I took out a i8 and created some incredible content. And it wasn't paid. There was nothing. I just wanted to, for one, build out my portfolio.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking. The last thing I was thinking about was being paid. I wanted to build out my portfolio of car content. I had nothing. Automotive stuff.
Yep.
And also build a relationship with a cool brand.
That is the key right there. It's that longevity play. I always love saying it's like marinating. Like when you're about to cook up some meat or something, you gotta let it marinate for a little bit, and then you throw it in.
Leave it.
But you have to. You have to, because the moment you overstep and you start asking for money, it's just like, if you really think about the long play, like even if they gave you $500 for the photos, when you could have just said, I'm all set, here's what I have to offer, they're like, wow, this guy's bringing us value. He's not even asking for money.
Yeah.
Clearly, he's more worried about the relationship versus the money. Then it's like, man, where could this go in the long play?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a very hard thing to decide not to go, I want to be paid for this. This is my rate. This is it. Like when you feel like sometimes you should, but when you have to look at that bigger picture, like you're saying, you have to look at where this relationship could lead.
Yeah.
You do have to be valuable you do have to know the value of your own work. Though.
Yeah.
That's something that I get asked a huge amount about is it's like, how do I price? How do I find the right pricing for my work, value my work? And that is such a difficult question to ask and to find the answer to. Especially when you're starting working for free is not, it sounds like a taboo thing to go and work for free, but like, again, it's brand building and relationship building and portfolio building.
Yeah.
And looking at it as like, the long-term relationship to then potentially ask for pay, say, look, this work I did for you guys love. This was fantastic. This is now the second campaign. These are the rates I usually charge, but maybe we could look at something that would fit your kind of scope. And we can go in and do that together. And they may say, yes, this is too much, or no, like we're not looking for it now, but eventually you kind of just build out the confidence in the relationship. You know the person well enough by that point to say, okay, look, like you're on a friendly basis, hopefully. Yeah. And you can ask for that.
And that rate's going to change, obviously, depending on if I'm somebody that is just randomly emailing you, wanting you to do brand work versus let's just use Movement as an example, versus somebody in Movement saying, hey, Jacob, we actually have this campaign. Those are going to be two completely different rates because you've already established that relationship. And obviously you're there to keep that relationship going. Yeah. Do you find yourself, just going off of that a little bit more, do you find yourself raising rates based on now, like using your Instagram as like a leverage point? Like,
for sure. Yeah. I'm fortunate to be able to do that. Yeah. I think I have kind of two strings of how I like sell that stuff. One is the creation, one is the distribution. I'm a big believer in the focus that the only reason I have an Instagram following is thanks to the creation. Yeah. Which means when I sell, I don't sell the fact I have a following. I sell the fact I have unique content. As a secondary to that, yes, I can distribute it for you on Instagram. I hate people coming to me and saying, you have 800K, we'd love to work with you. I'm like, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
That for me, I want you to come and say, we love the work you create.
Yeah, man.
Work with us for that. We would also love a post on Instagram to share it. But
stop looking at just the numbers. It's too easy. Like people just sometimes they just see this number and they think that like that's the value, but it's actually like the person
the only
behind
reason
that.
I've had that following is because of the work that I've created.
Yeah.
I'm not in a huge amount of stuff I create. I'm in the odd photo and generally not as big as someone that's doing like lifestyle and fashion and is in it the whole time. I'm a small figure showing the scale of a place or whatever it is. So people follow me for the destination and the stuff to inspire them to travel, like I was talking about, which is what I want to work with brands for. I want to work with brands that respect the value of my work. And if brands generally will pay more if they are getting posts on Instagram and stuff, because that is a huge value, like modern day advertising. Yeah. But yeah, that's
what do you think has been the hardest lesson you've learned from doing this client work?
There's a few things. I think being very respectful of what the client needs and sometimes not always what you want to shoot. I've learned both like hard ways and just like now realizing just like the focus of what needs to happen. Like sometimes I've been so caught up in creating stuff that I think they're going to love. Yeah. When sometimes kind of taking too far of a guidance away from what their message may be. And that's only happened once or twice. And it's been a great, incredible learning experience for me. I think so. That's definitely something that has been a challenge, but something that I really now, when I go in, my biggest focus is to add value to them. Sometimes you get caught up in going, I'm going to get to go do this and add value to the content I create and all this. Like me, it's like, okay, here's the brand. Here's BMW. What are their focuses? I went and pitched them recently and saying, okay, they've got a new partnership with the National Trust, which is a foundation in the UK for green spaces. Their hybrid cars and the new collaboration there. I was saying, okay, look, like I want to add value to this by creating content that reflects these new partnership and create video content based on this, and this. It wasn't necessarily something I would have gone out and created anyway, but I knew it added significant value to them.
You did the research to realize like this is what they represent. This is what they have going on. How am I going to actually make this work for what they're
instead of
doing?
saying I want to take an i8 and park it on like Tower Bridge and stop all the traffic and get a dope photo of me stood in front of it. Yeah. Like I'm thinking, okay, that's not what they need. Yeah. They don't need that. They need something that is going to help them talk about this new partnership, for example.
How do you get in the creative process? Like what helps you? Yeah, I know these coasters are always like, I got to just like glue them down, get some super glue. How do you get into the creative process when you have 10 things on the to-do list? You know you got a lot of shit to get done. What gets you in that zone of like, okay, here we go. Because I think it's interesting. Everyone's a little bit different. Some people are early morning. Some people are late at night. Some people are just like, I need to wait till the last minute and get it done.
It's a really interesting one. I think like towards the end of Beautiful Destinations, I felt very burnt out from just doing client. And it was very similar stuff. It wasn't stuff I was passionate about. So when I took a step back from that, I actually took a little break. A kind of little like,
smart.
I hit a creative block. And I took the whole of January not shooting.
It's probably the best time of year to do that, right? Because everyone's just coming off the holidays.
The only negative was, and something I didn't realize, is like when you go freelance, January is when everyone picks on their partnerships. Picks up on their like year partnerships. And obviously people are still thinking I'm a BD, so it wasn't like but like that was something that I know now for January to be grinding on the
You'll
emails,
be ready for this January coming. You'll be ready for this
But it was good for me to take a reset, to think about the year, think about what I wanted to do. I took a couple of trips that didn't even take my camera, because I just wanted to go out and travel for me and live and then be in the moment, see friends, do fun things, start to like just live in the present more so than I was towards the end of the year. That allowed me to feel so much more creative come February when I was like, I need to pick up a camera again.
I'm ready to go.
I'm like, oh my God, get a camera in my hand. I think when it comes to working with clients, like I was talking about before, it's like if a brand comes to me and says, we want you to create some content for us, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'll go, okay, I'll research. I love the research element of finding out what they've done, looking at other people's work, taking inspiration from other people that have worked with that brand or other stuff they've created, and I go, okay, like, what's my style? How do I fit it to them? How do I create something unique? And it's a weird process. That's the opening process. For me, editing wise, I'm a night person. I love doing it in the evenings. I'm terrible with going to bed on time.
You're like are you another like 4 or 5 a.m.er?
Sometimes. But then I love being up early in the morning as well. I think I have this like 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. that I'm just like, I don't like this time.
A lot of people don't like the midday.
It's just like, well, for a start, I don't ever shoot in that time of day. I'm a shooter.
Terrible with lighting, right? For
Exactly.
lighting? Yeah.
I love sun. Like, if I'm, it's weird twofold. Like, I could go to bed at 10, get up at 5, hit the gym, and feel like ready to go, and I would probably edit until about 8 o'clock in the morning. And then be like, all right, cool, I'm done with that stuff. Yeah. Then kind of do a bit in the day and then just feel like lazy in the middle of the day. Get to the afternoon and I'm like, okay, like I like this kind of time. This is good. I can go shoot. It's really weird.
I know. I feel it.
Plus, I'm on 20 different time zones a lot of the time. So I'm like, I don't even know when I'm getting up sometimes.
Where are we?
Like, yeah, like I'm like, it's 4 o'clock in the morning right now. No, it's not. It's 11 a.m.
Oh my God.
So like trying to balance that. But I think I get very... a lot of inspiration from Instagram. So a lot of inspiration about places to go, things to create, doing all that. Thanks to the app that I've been fortunate enough to grow and learn, do everything I do from. Yeah. So I definitely take credit in that in Instagram for being like a huge part of where I get my inspiration from listening to stuff like this, from watching movies. I love watching movies. Yeah. I take inspiration more so on how they're shot and the visuals in them,
the coloring.
I mean, I love stupid action films as well, but like for me, like a lot of the films I watch are purely because I like to see how they've been shot, the way they do them, the look and the feel.
Yeah. So you're just getting inspiration from pretty much everything, which I think is really
people
important.
that aren't even in the creative space as well. People that just do cool shit.
Yeah. You have a lot of experience with social media, clearly. Like that is like you are one of the social media gurus, right? We got a lot of people that listen to this podcast. We got photographers, we got entrepreneurs, we got podcasters, probably yoga instructors, maybe the next biggest dog walker. What is your best advice for them to stand out from the crowd in social media space?
We're up against over 1 billion people, so that's the biggest challenge. Yeah. That's the single biggest challenge on Instagram, that is saturated. Yeah, it's full of people that want to share their voice,
which is great.
Which is great. It's incredible.
It's incredible. There's a platform.
That is so far from being a negative thing. Yeah, but when you want to stand out more than someone else, it can be a challenge. I think there's a lot of ways that you can go about that. I think the single biggest part of standing out on Instagram in whatever you do, if it's not photography and videos, whatever it is, like we were talking about, it has to be quality content. If you're a dog walker, you have to post quality content. You have to, if you're an entrepreneur, post high quality content that people are going to enjoy seeing. Like for me, obviously that's the focus. I'm a photographer. I want to post everything really high quality, but I think some people think that like they can post anything and it's going to do well, but like you have to have consistency. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you're in. Like if you have consistency at a high level of quality, that's going to stand out. Yeah. Being active on Instagram, being someone that engages with their audience, someone that, and it's hard when you get a lot of comments on a photo, a lot of that, or you have loads of like, that's something I used to reply to every single comment on Instagram up until I was getting kind of like 200-300 comments, and like literally time constraints is really hard. Hours, so like what I do now is I reply to a lot of the first, I reply to like the first 30 comments or something. I then read all my DMs. I reply to all my messages as best I can. Wow. I like try and do it maybe like once a week. I'll sit down and go through everything. If it's just like, I love this photo. Like if someone's asking a question or something, I try my best to answer everything, because I know people will be so grateful and so much more inclined to continue following and engage if you are someone that's also giving out that engagement and that active kind of user experience.
It's that appreciation too, like knowing that they could be following and paying attention to this, everybody else, but they're helping you essentially fund what you love to do, just based on paying attention, liking and commenting on your
I
stuff.
have to owe so much of what I do to the audience that I have. And the people that follow and the people that engage with my work, because without them doing that, I wouldn't be able to do this. Yeah. And that's something that I've learned a lot of over this year, that I need to be more active and engaging with my audience. And it's the same when you start out. It's the same. You have to be posting Instagram stories. I think that's one of the biggest, most exciting features of Instagram. It is insane. I was trying to get on Snapchat, like when like I was still a BD, but I was like, I'm going to have to start Snapchat. I need to be sharing insights into my life. And literally like 2 weeks later, Instagram was like, we're bringing out Instagram stories. And I got thousands of views on Instagram stories. And I didn't have to leave the app to go to Snapchat, where I was getting 100 and something.
I know. Like, everybody left Snapchat.
It was insane. And it is still so, so valuable. People want to see an insight into your life. They want to see, they're following you because whether they feel a connection to the stuff you do or they feel inspired by what you do, they want to see more than just what you're posting on there. They want to see you as a person. They want to see your experiences, what you do on a day-to-day basis, whatever it might be. And don't overload it. Don't post 20 stories a day. Post 3 or 4. 3 or 4 cool ones that give people an insight into what you're doing and what your life is.
I found that to be very helpful in even building out my content and showing people who I am, because I look at it at this great line, and actually it was pretty much, well, the bracelet I was showing you before, the journey is the reward. This guy, Gary Vee, that I follow, he always says, document the journey, right? And so I've incorporated that same concept into my Instagram story of showing people the process of what my day-to-day is like, for them to get an insight of how I'm doing this, how I'm funding this. Whether it's me like showing an Instagram before the guest comes, like, I'm in the bedroom, now I'm in the bedroom, now I'm in the studio, or showing,
I've just done the Uber driving now.
Exactly, like showing people the realness, because I think the authenticity is what they end up appreciating. And so I'm posting this stuff, not seeing anybody really chime in, but then I'm doing these Instagram lives and I'm pulling in people that I've never even seen comment or like DM me, and they're like, yeah, man, I love your Instagram stories. I've been seeing this and that. I'm like, wow, people actually care. And then that's just building on the relationship more, because they're seeing the realness of what you're having to do to make it work.
Yeah. And that's like when I get up for sunrise and I've got my alarm set for 3:45. Yeah. And it's like posting that on my story. People go, oh, you're up early. I could never do that. Or they're like, wow, like I should get up early and do that because I want to create beautiful sunrise photos. Yeah. I'm going to get in that mindset to get up that time as well, or whatever it might be.
You just posting that, like the alarm clock or just the
timestamp.
Just
walking down the time.
That's already like an inspiration for somebody. Like, just get up, just get after it, do what you have to do.
Yeah. Like I was listening to Lewis Howes, like his stuff. Yeah. His stuff is unreal. And like, he talks about his daily process of like, and I can't remember the army lieutenant that talks about making your bed every morning. You know the one I'm talking about.
Shit, man. Jaruko or Jocko, I think.
Honestly, I cannot remember. I'll say it wrong. We're gonna say I'll be like an idiot. So we'll give it a second. It'll come back. And we like those processes that you put in place. Like, it's simple. I want to make my bed every day. I'm currently on the sofa at Jeremiah's house, but I fold up the blankets. I do that, and I put it on the side to clean the space to be ready for the day. And I love that. And I think, like with Lewis Howes, his process and his just like the way you think about something and the way that you focus it is something that I think is so important. And it can inspire other people. It's just what you're inspiring, I'm inspiring, he's inspiring. We're inspiring people to do what they want with this incredible opportunity to be alive. I know. Like, everyone's alive for a reason, whether you found that reason right now or whether you find it in 20 years time. You see actors that become a superstar at 40 years old. And like, well, you see someone like Tom Hardy, who at 21, 22 years old was like drug dealing. He was in prison for a time. He was like in a dark place, and now is one of the most talented actors on the planet.
He's
like,
amazing.
Everyone finds that thing at different times, but like, hopefully putting some of these like cool things into place that get you in the right mindset is a great way to start.
I think these conversations are the fuel, because Lewis Howes was the one that inspired me to start a podcast. Like, if it wasn't for him, I don't know if I ever would have started a podcast, but it was...
I chatted to him for the first time today.
Really? Yeah. That's crazy. I literally was in college. Long story short, was in college, was about to graduate. I was listening to his podcast. I was like, man, I'm so fired up off life. But I was like, where is like the younger bucks? Because he has a lot of people that are older, and which is cool. It's still inspiring. But then I was like, where's the Young Buck podcast? And then it came to me. I was like, well, I'm going to create it.
You're right.
And so Lewis Howes is by far the inspiration for me even getting into a podcast. But that's crazy.
I was like, so you follow me. And then a friend of mine was like, oh, like, you should reach out to Lewis Howes. I should introduce you. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Like, it's kind of one of those things that you forget. Like, I've been like listening to him for a while. And then I kind of forgot that, like, we're kind of doing similar things. I should probably go.
That would be an amazing conversation. I would be the first listener. Like, it would get published at 12, and I would listen at 12, like 0.5. Like, on the half a second, I'm hitting play.
I like that.
So I want to see that actually
practically
happen.
Live. You're listening to it practically live.
Yeah, Lewis, you need somebody to work the camera? I'll come do it. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll find a way to make it work. What would you like to see with Jacob Media? What's the big picture?
There's a lot of things that I'd like to take it. Fortunately, this year I've been able to do some public speaking and some workshops with Jeremiah.
You're walking right to the next question. Oh, I love this.
And those things are something that I've really, really enjoyed doing. Taking what I know and realizing that I know a fair amount and teaching people and giving people the tools to go and do it themselves. I was fortunate. I learned so much from YouTube. but it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
YouTube learning is so hard because there are thousands of videos that give you thousands of different answers.
Yep.
And sometimes you don't know the people that you're watching either. You're just trying to pick one thing from this video, one thing from this video, and do this. And like, or you're going out and spending years and years trying to learn it. Whereas the workshops that Jeremiah and I did were fantastic. And that's something that I want to push into next year for Jacob Media. I think that stuff is going to be crucial for me to be able to kind of build a brand around teaching and learning and people growing thanks to the stuff that I'm sharing. Second to that, I want to work with inspiring brands and continue what I'm doing on a brand level. I think about occasionally like the look and feel of what an agency could be like, whether it's partnering up with someone like Jeremiah or someone like Sam and creating a team of people that have an incredible agency, something like Beautiful Destinations, but run by influencers. I don't know, like they're all thoughts kind of over here, but for next year for me is the focus on these courses and all of that stuff.
How has it been, speaking on the actual workshops, because that's one question I definitely want to talk on. You and Jeremiah did that out in Bali. How was it for you to actually, because it's one thing to get love on Instagram and DM people and actually help them via online, but then I had came across, I think Jeremiah had put out a recap of it, and there was a kid's voiceover, and he said he had flew like 32 hours just to come to the workshop. Then there was another kid that said, you know, he was about to invest in a camera and decided that maybe this was going to be a better investment. So you have kids that are like rolling the dice, and then you're actually in person with them for this week of just like creating.
And we have to live up to that expectation that they have of us, which is a scary thing. But it's also incredible. I mean, I think one of the biggest things I realized in the first couple of days of the first workshop was actually how valuable the knowledge we have is. So it's so easy to forget. Like, you do things every day. Like, you pick up a camera and I take photos and I do this and I change the settings and I edit them and I kind of just do it. Like, it becomes kind of this just like subconscious
the system.
way
it's a system
working.
for you to get it done.
Yet when I broke that all down and we're in the field going to a waterfall and someone's saying, okay, how do you shoot this? I'm like, oh, obviously you just do it like this.
But they don't know that.
So I go, okay, look, like, take a step back. Let's think about how this waterfall looks. What are the perspectives? What are the composition kind of techniques here? Look at this triangle. Look at this leading line. Look at this like balance between like person and waterfall and the scale. All these different things that you kind of break down. And I loved it. I think it was they were just like blown away by it. Something that I'd never experienced before. Like, I'm fortunate to have people come up to me, say, oh, wow, you're Jacob, I love your work. Like, it's great. I followed you for ages. And that is a huge, I don't know, it's an amazing feeling, someone coming up to you and saying that. But in person, when you're actually giving away knowledge that you've learned and someone just being so incredibly blown away by it is a whole nother thing.
It's so easy for you because, like you're saying, you are so used to the system of like, take this picture, we're going to edit the same XYZ way and then post it. But you're having these kids that have no idea of that process that's running through your mind. So even as you're talking about it, I can just like feel the passion of just like, okay, you're looking at the lighting, or you look at this angle. What about this triangle? Like, that's
Like, well, they're like, why did, like, I shot this photo. What do you think? And I'm like, oh, well, I really like this thing in here. And they're like, I didn't even see that. I didn't know why I didn't. I was like, well, look, like, that's clear that you have a creative mind and you have a creative vision, but you're learning. You may not just have found the reasons why you're taking all these photos or in this particular way. And as I started to talk to some of them, it was like, okay, like, all of your photos have this consistency. What is it? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, look, like, all of these have this beautiful leading line. They have a person and they have whatever it might be. And they're like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Like, and it's kind of just like educating them on stuff that they probably already know. And also making them realize that sometimes they're not even that far behind necessarily. There are some of the guys that came on the workshop, they definitely knew more about some stuff than I did, without a shadow of a doubt. and I think that is a fantastic thing. I think it was making them realize that, look, like, yeah, you may do this in a better method than I do, but I've done this differently and this differently. Take something that I've done. I'll take something that you've done here. Great. And we'll collaboratively grow together.
It's
like,
amazing. It's a win-win for everybody that's being part of it.
It's a huge learning curve for everyone. And I feel grateful for everyone that's come and experienced Jeremiah and I being able to share what we know.
How did you guys meet? You and Jeremiah. That one, Blonde Cat, episode 71 of the podcast for the people that are listening.
Soon to be those two blonde kids.
Oh, I like that. When you guys jumped in my IG live the other day, I was like, these guys should be brothers.
So we met about 2 years ago. We went to
Unbelievable.
to a dam in Malibu. You might know the one. It's like some like abandoned like old school dam that
It's
basically
in
I went to
Malibu. That's all I need to know.
with like Rory and a few others, and I met him for the first time, obviously with Sam as well. And yeah, we just had a fun time. Like the little like hang out and stuff, chilled, and then came back to LA, hung out a bit more, and then I crashed at his place. I was like, I know you well enough. I'm gonna crash on the sofa. And then we both had an idea for a workshop completely separately.
Wow.
I was like, I want to do photography. He was like, well, I'm thinking about these video workshops, and we were like, who's doing both?
Let's do it.
Booyah! So we were like, photo video workshop. Let's give people the most amount of value they could possibly walk away with.
Oh, man.
And that's where it kind of started. And yeah, it's been great. We bounce off each other well, good ideas, good fun. Like we skydive together, we do all that.
Savages. You guys are savages. Just jumping out of planes, jumping out of hot air balloons.
It's cool. It's cool. And he's got such incredible talent as well. And I like that. I like it's so different to mine as well.
Yeah.
It's so different to the stuff I know. He creates incredible videos.
I know.
I create photos, yet we learn so much of each other.
Super talented dude, but also just a great person at heart.
Amazing.
He's connected me with a lot of these previous podcast guests that have been very important to getting me to even this podcast today. And so he never had to help me in any way, especially in the beginning, but he would just go out of his way to do it. And it has forever been really appreciated. But it just shows you like there are people in this world that are super talented, that are winning, that are making a living doing what they love, but all the while they're still being a fucking great person to everybody else, which is like, it's just cool to see that. If you had to recite one sentence to yourself every morning when you woke up, what would you say?
Something along the lines of learn something today, be continuously positive, and make an impact on something. I think those three things are. I think positivity breeds positivity.
100%.
I know that I'm a very positive person. Sometimes too positive. Sometimes to a fault.
I'm very loud about positivity. People are like, what is this guy doing?
I feel so good about being positive. Learning something, especially when you're freelancing anything, is so critical. To go out and feel that you've actually taken a step forward in something that you love doing. Yeah. For me is a really important thing. And trying to make an impact. Like I'm fortunate to have a big audience, and I can very easily say one thing and people take what I say to heart. Yeah. So I have to be careful with that, but I can also utilize it to my advantage and trying to hopefully help someone, even if it is literally giving $10 to a homeless guy on the street. Do something that's going to help change someone's life. I think is really important.
What scares you the most?
Scares me the most. I really don't know. Like small fears or big fears or everything like
a little bit of both. What's a small fear? What's a big fear?
So I got a really weird small fear that like must sound.
You don't like it. You don't like spiders, but yet I'll jump out of a plane with a parachute.
So like animals and I'm fine. To be honest, I don't really like rats, but
okay, nobody likes them.
I've always hated like really calm, dark pieces of water, like big lakes that are like dead calm. Freaks me out. Really? I'm like, there's shit under there that should not be under there. Like a reservoir, like a massive reservoir with a big concrete wall, and like it's 50 foot deep and it's just black water. Eerie.
Not doing it. Fan. Not a fan.
Ain't jumping into that. I'll leave that for Sam. But like big fears. I honestly like. I don't know. I think for me, I try and turn things that I'm worried about, like going freelance, for example. I put myself in a position and a mindset where I'm like, if I don't take this opportunity, I'm not ever going to experience what it's like. And I try and kind of like turn that fear into positive energy to go and do it. Yeah. If that makes sense. Like skydiving, like it terrified me at first, but I had to do it. I had to know what it felt like to do it. And now the feeling of falling through the sky is incredible.
You love it.
And it's still terrifying. Of course. Yeah. Throwing yourself out of a plane. What the hell is wrong with you?
A perfectly flying plane. We're jumping out the back.
Wait, you said we're leaving the plane? What?
Why?
I think there's always the kind of, okay, when Instagram disappears, what's next?
That's always a big thing. You don't want to put all your chips into one thing.
Yeah. And whether this moves smoothly onto the workshop course online that I've been doing, because that's something that, again, I'm worried about that. So of course I worry about that stuff. I don't know. Freelance, everyone worries. You don't know where it's going to end. I definitely have more security than other people because of the following and the amount of income I'm able to make off that, which is more than I thought I would ever be able to do at 23, which is incredible. But everyone still has that worry. Everyone still has that. If Instagram disappears, what's next? What do I do? And that's just something I've really had to get my mind around, to look at it in a way that goes, okay, let's be positive about this. Let's think, what are the different avenues that I can take? Yeah. And there's a few things.
If you wrote a book today, what would you title it? These are the rapid fire questions.
Oh, this is a tough one.
Yeah.
I've never thought about writing a book before. Give me. I need to think about this.
Yeah, take a second. I know. Just based on what you're feeling today, based on what's happened in the past.
Does it have to be an exact title, or can I give you like some idea and then we can work on a title together?
Go ahead.
Wrong with it. I think it's
doesn't have to be
along the lines of like kind of like saying yes and pursuing your dreams to a point that you can like sustain yourself. I think like something about like being young and not getting conformed to what everyone else is doing. Something that inspires the younger generation to not necessarily have to go to university and do that.
I think a good one for what you're
I don't know how to.
I got it for you. And I'm stealing it from Will Smith. 2 words. Just decide.
I love it.
Just decide. Just decide on who you want to be.
Or it's like the critical decision, or like something like it's like the step to take, or those things that like make you go, okay, like I'm on this path, but I want to be doing this path. Yeah. Make that decision to do it. Take the leap. Take the scary unknown path of something you love doing. Yeah. And grind and hustle, and you're going to make it.
And these are the stories. This is what it's all about. These are the stories that show people, or they can listen, actually literally hear and listen, that it's actually possible. It's so, sometimes I take for granted, or I don't take for granted, but I like have to pull myself out of my body and look at what I'm actually doing, and the people that I've connected, and the relationships I'm building, and the stories that I'm capturing, and how blessed I am to have these conversations on a weekly basis, and to literally just be like, literally mentors that are coming in and telling me their story that I just take and go, okay, I just need to apply this to my own life. But I know that there are a lot of people, because there were a time 2 years ago when I wasn't listening to podcasts or listening to these stories, and I didn't have that hope. But it's amazing to hear people like yourself who have had all these things kind of happen, but it still all just stems back to somebody that had that passion that you had found at such a young age and kind of made it happen. What do you think Jacob's overall purpose is?
I think what it's been and continues to be for now is being someone that can inspire people, especially to look at the world in a beautiful way. Yeah. I mentioned that before, is that what my Instagram is. I think right now that's what I want to continue to share as my little piece of the world. Yeah. That like my little thing. That's what I want it to. I want it to be a place that people can come and they can be inspired, and they can be excited to travel, whether they can or not, or they can live like vicariously through my work. Yeah. They can look at a person in that shot and go, that's me. Yeah. I'm stood in front of this raging waterfall, and they can think about the water coming down and like the birds chirping, and be immersed in that moment. Yeah. That for me, that's right now what I want, like my short-term legacy kind of thing to be. Yeah. Long-term, I think it comes with the teaching, and it comes with, I would love to be up there with the guys that are shooting Nat Geo and shooting these incredible, meaningful campaigns that take it a step further than just the inspiration to travel, and inspiration to look after the planet. Yeah. So that's something for next year and the year after, to hopefully shift my audience focus on, okay, you guys follow me for this beautiful stuff. Let's look at the underlying messages and the deeper stories, and how we collectively, as an audience of 800,000 people around the world, come together to hopefully actually start to change the shit that we've done to this planet, or our parents' generation or parents have done to this planet, and so forth. Yeah. I mean, you're doing it, like you already are doing it, like you said, with just the images. You can live, I might not have traveled to any of these places, but just the coloring and the images that you choose to share with people, it just pulls you into this world, and it's really kind of beautiful, because it gives you an insight of like what is out there in this world, as I kind of said in the beginning of the podcast. But maybe I haven't traveled there yet, or I don't have the money or funds, but I can live it through you. So it's like amazing to see. Before I get into the closing questions, this is when I reverse the role. I allow the guests to ask me any one question. It could be about something we talked about today, something you want to know. One, if you got another one, I got two.
Let's do two.
The main one is, how long have you grown your beard for?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good question. You're seeing it at you're seeing it prime.
It's a very Conor McGregor look.
That's my brother. I'm Irish, but I'm not fully Irish like him. Shout out to Conor McGregor.
The G.
I actually just got this trimmed yesterday.
Yeah.
So I get it trimmed up every so often, but I've been growing a beard for probably, like 5-6 years. I don't think I've been clean shaven for like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, I can't
since
picture
high
the
school.
face.
My mom, no, I can't either. I would look like a kid. My mother would probably love to see me clean shaven again, but it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom. But it's now the problem is, right? Like, this is the old cover.
It's about
right?
to say,
the bearded
like,
man's
it's the
on
brand.
there. Now I have that as the first.
I've got one for you. ABB. Always be branding.
Always be brand. Yeah, see? You're right. You're right.
A
And
friend
that's
of
the
mine
thing.
that I met told me that.
It's true, though.
ABB.
Because the problem is now it's part of the brand.
ABB.
The first line of my Instagram, your favorite bearded man. I can't pull back now. It's on the cover. It's on the, you know what I mean? Like, it is the brand.
Like a Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Older.
I don't think I'll ever go
still
that.
branding.
You know what? I got to keep it like a good length, but I don't ever think I'll ever go something crazy because it's just, it's a pain to maintain. But I think the length that I got now, I'm holding it down.
You can keep stuff in there if you need.
Oh, yeah, hide it. I can hide stuff.
You don't,
you don't even see what's in there, man. Save it for later.
I can just put memory cards and like valuable shit in it.
Yeah. Oh, I need that one. Plug it in. Oh, plug that one. Plug it in.
And then I think, like, I mean, I'm still fairly recent to like the insights into your like life and the balance of the Uber full-time job and this, and the realization that you just want to pursue something that you're passionate about, regardless of kind of how you get to that point.
Yeah.
I'd love to just hear more about that.
Yeah.
For me, like I've seen the parts of it. I've seen it, like, even just talking to you about Uber on
Instagram the other day.
Instagram Live. Like, you're just so stoked on it, and
yeah.
And I think that's what some people may miss. Like, some people get so they hate their job.
Yeah.
Even if they're working towards something else.
Yeah.
I think it's inspiring.
It's, like I was just saying, document the journey, right? And that's what I've gotten. I'm trying to get much better as even just incorporating every couple posts, like showing me in the Instagram, like or showing me in the Uber streets. Like, I think 2 Saturdays ago, I posted a selfie in my car, like slinging the streets, hashtag Uber life.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I knew that I wasn't gonna get crazy amount of likes, but I want people to see in their feed me actually hustling, me grinding, me doing what I have to do. But it's crazy because essentially how this all came about was, as I was telling you, about Lewis, like, I was graduating college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to an all business school, supposed to go corporate, and realizing that's not what I wanted to do. I had this idea to start this podcast. I didn't know how I was going to fund it. I knew I wasn't going to make money doing this from the jump. I've seen plenty of people that have started something and made money. It takes years. I understood that. And so I tried a couple different things. I went home. I graduated college. I went home for about 2 months. I was back to like the first job I ever had. I was working for my uncle, which was like the biggest, like, kind of punch in the face of, there's no disrespect to him. It was just, this is the first job I ever had. Now I have a college degree. I'm $100,000 in debt, and I'm back to the same job. What did I do wrong? That was a big, like, and I think back to that person, I was just so like lost as to what was next. And then I had an opportunity to move back to Boston, which is where I went to college, and I had a 6 weeks lease with one of my homies. He was about to move out and move into another apartment, and I was like, let me go out there and try to work Uber full time. I had drove Uber in college to make money on the side. I had the flexibility. That's why I did it in college. I could work, Wednesday when I got a class at noon, work 5 or 6 hours. There's enough money for the weekend, pay for my booze, and that was that. And I started working full time. Having this 6 weeks, I knew if it doesn't work, I'll go back home. And I saw the money I can make, and I was like, wow, I can actually make a living. Yeah, I can't treat this like a 9 to 5 and just work Monday through Friday, work 40 hours and call it a day. I have to work more of like the restaurant industry hours. I got to work the nights. I got to work the weekends. But I'm in control of my time. I can focus on the podcast. I get to talk to people all day long. I love people. And the real thing was time management. That is the whole thing of like, I can work when I want, as much as I want. And it just started. And I didn't really like think or worry about like, wow, I'm going to have to do this for the next 3 years in order to fund it. I just took it one day at a time. And I kept going and I kept going. And then when I was about to move out here to LA back in September of 2017, I didn't know what the LA market was going to be like. I knew Uber was big out here, But I was like, I can't just move to LA and just get a job working for somebody else. The only way I'm going to do that is if it's working with somebody I'm super passionate about, or like a product or a brand. Other than that, I'm not just applying for a job. And so moving to LA, I said, I'm going to figure it out with Uber. And we ended up out here in the Valley. I rolled some dice. I remember that first like week Ubering, not really knowing the market. I came home to my homie Dylan. I was like, bro, I don't know if this is going to make me money here, because it's cost of gas is more. The distance you're driving is more. There's more traffic. I was kind of nervous, and I saw it through. I just kept pushing. Got into this like rhythm that I have going now, and I know the days of the week that I work. I know the certain hours of the day that I'm working, depending on opportunities. If I'm jumping out of hot air balloons or something like that, I'll clear the schedule. But it really just kind of happened, and I just passed 2 years with the podcast back in August. I'm technically now been driving for Uber 3.5 years. I'd say full time it's been
top 2%.
Top 2% in the world. Let's make that clear. I've been driving for Uber for 3.5 years. 2 years of it has been full time. The other 1.5 was part time. Although there are times when I'm driving through the streets on those late Friday, Saturday night grinds, and I get home and it's midnight, and I'm just like kind of just like decompressing. I'm just thankful for this system right now, because I know when I'm where I want to be, or not where I want to be, but when I'm making a living doing content, that how lucky I was to have had that platform to do it. Because this is what it comes down to, being able to sit down Wednesday at 1:45 in the afternoon and have a podcast. Whereas if I was working for somebody else, maybe I wouldn't have been able to do this podcast. You're somebody that's tight on time, as a busy person you are, and that's been the biggest thing, is at least reaching out to the guests, showing them what I have to offer, what I do, but also trying to make sure that it fits best for their schedule. And that's been super, very helpful. Super interesting. But I just keep seeing the long play, and conversations like this, relationships that I've been building, that's what fuels me to keep going, because I got into the game late. I didn't start any creating YouTube podcasting until I was 22. So to even have you in here today, 2 years later, I'm doing something right. And so,
well, thank you for having me.
Your time is very valuable. I recognize that. And so I just know that I need to keep going. I'm going to keep slaying these Uber streets, best in the world, until I get to where I want to be.
I love that. Yeah. I think that's the grind and the hustle that everyone wants to hear about, and hopefully can inspire other people. I mean, I have it on my hand.
What does that tattoo say?
Hustle.
Wow, I love that.
See it on every day. I did that the day after me and Jeremiah finished our first barley workshop.
No way.
One of the most tiring weeks of my life.
Hustle.
One of the most like amazing weeks of my life, and I see it every time I pick up my camera.
I love that.
Every time I'm writing.
Wow, I love that.
And editing and all that jazz.
Is that your favorite one, or is another one?
I think my palm trees.
What's that
I got
from?
that fairly recently as well. That I got in New Zealand when I was out seeing my girlfriend. She's out there. Wow. She was out there for 6 months. Got that. Super simple. But I just really like palm trees.
I love palm trees. We have a palm tree in our backyard, and when we moved in here, I was like, I have a palm tree in my backyard.
I got that one for my grandpa when he passed away. It's a dove.
Wow.
And I matched it up recently on the left arm. That when I first did some traveling, got that from Wang Od, the oldest traditional tattoo artist in the world. She's like 100 years old with a stick and poke, over 100 years old.
No way.
Yeah. Most painful thing I've ever done in my life.
I bet.
Then that one was my most recent from a super talented artist. I drew the skull, and he drew his incredible kind of like more modern designs around it, kind of this balance between old and new.
It's incredible. I love it. I love the ink. Ink is important. I got some ideas that I might be throwing out soon enough. I gotta just pull the trigger, because I know the problem is I know once I do one, it's just gonna be like this domino and keep going. But
very dangerous.
Where can people find you on social media if they don't already follow you, which I'm sure they probably do?
Jacob, Jacob.
So tough.
Very Instagram. I do Facebook as well, but don't use it as much. But that's Jacob Media. And that's pretty much everything on there. I mean, my site has presets and prints on it, jacobmedia.com. And that's where you'd find me though.
Yeah. Before I ask the final question, thank you for coming in today, man. You are, I was so stoked to like get this to be booked and to have you come in today.
Yeah, thanks for being flexible. I mean, we pre-arranged it like 2 weeks ago, and then
no,
I was like,
all good.
And then
you know what I've gotten really good at is it's never personal. Sometimes I think that's the problem. When I first started off doing this, I would be like, wait, they're not emailing me back. Oh, they didn't hit me back. I always know it all works out. You got to be patient with things like this. And so even though I know it didn't happen right when we thought it was, I'm glad it happened today.
So if I was emailing you, and then Jeremiah was like, I looked over and he was like, wait, you're speaking to me. Yeah,
He's in the live. He's in the live with you. But yeah, man, I really respect what you do. I love the hustle. I love the grind. I love the story. I think everything you have got going on, the conversation we just had, so it makes sense that you and Jeremiah do these workshops together, because you could tell you guys are so much the same personality.
Yeah.
But I really do appreciate you taking the time to be part of this.
Thank you very much.
What's for the last question, what's the best 2 to 3 pieces of advice you'd give to somebody that's listening, doesn't have that passion figured out, doesn't have that purpose figured out just yet? What do you say they do?
That's tough. I think. I mean, is this they don't have? You said they don't
have it figured out. They don't know.
Idea of what they want to do.
They're in college right now. They don't know what the next move is. They're working a job they hate. Doesn't any of those.
If you have a passion, whether it's doing anything, doesn't have to be anything. Pursue it regardless. Like even if it's something that you're just doing for fun that may not necessarily get you paid, continue doing it. I rode BMX for 5 years before I got into photography, and I did it because I loved it, and it was my release from going to a shit job and a crappy school, whatever it was. I loved going out and doing that, and it felt so good.
Yeah.
Always focus on your passions. I think that is a huge thing. I think think about just like the, no pun intended, but the landscape of what's happening in our kind of like age group and our kind of like demographic. Like so many people thinking university is the right route. It might not be. It might be just immersing yourself with people that you enjoy being surrounded by, learning things from them. You do not have to have what you want to do laid out in plain sight. It's so easy to think that you're looking at people that are 23, 24, however years old. They've got it all set up and they know exactly what they want to do. 99% of people at that age have no idea what they want to do.
Yeah.
Don't be scared that you're far behind or feeling like you're doing the wrong thing. Live life, enjoy it, hang out with your friends, do fun things that you enjoy, and throughout all of that time, something will come that you think, wow, this is where I can make my mark. If that takes 20 years, it takes 20 years.
Yeah.
Everyone's on this planet for a reason. Everyone's got a job to do and a passion to have and a way to make their mark on the world. And it all comes at different times.
I love it. Jacob Riglin, thank you for coming on the show, brother.
Thank you so much.
We'll catch you guys next time. See ya!